Marvin Gaye likes to reach up into the heavens, find the purest virginic angel, and then drag her down to the depths of hell with him. We back in front of the camera today, y'all. I gotta sell some stuff. Go on over there to uptopbeauty.com and check out my super fly shades. I got them in beige and black. Now let's get into this Mary Wells book. Released March 13th, 1964, My Guy rose to #1 on the top Billboard and Cashbox pop charts. Wells' first time at the very top of either of those charts. Billboard did not publish an R&B chart from November 30th, 1963 to January 23rd, 1965. It remained among the top 40 hits on the Billboard pop charts for 13 weeks. Billboard ranked it as number 17 among the top 100 songs of 1964. Among the top 1,000 most popular single records released from 1955 through 1966. Billboard ranked it number 437. In 1999, the curatorial staff of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, in conjunction with a group of rock critics and historians, voted it into the Hall's permanent exhibit of the songs that shaped rock and roll. Not only did it become Mary's signature song, but it also made her the nation's most popular singer. In April 1964, Motown issued Mary's 6th album, Mary Wells' Greatest Hits. In an effort to capitalize on My Guy, the effort was a success. Loaded with popular Wells tunes, including My Guy, The One Who Really Loves You, and You Beat Me to the Punch. The album rose to number 18 on the Billboard album chart, a high water mark for Wells. In May 1964, the company issued Mary's 7th album, Mary Wells Sings My Guy. It was successful, but probably because it was the second album in succession on which My Guy had appeared, it rose only to number 111 on the Billboard album charts. Nevertheless, My Guy caught on so fast with white fans that Curtis Womack, who later became Mary's long-term lover, was briefly troubled. As a musician trying to cross the racial barrier, Womack remembers thinking, "This song ain't like Bye Bye Baby, and it ain't like You Beat Me to the Punch." It sounded just like something white vocalist Patti Page or one of them ladies would be singing, and I thought it wasn't going to go with black people like it did. But it did. It went with everybody. My Guy has remained stuck in the minds of millions over the years, even more so than other pop hits. Facts. The success of My Guy had other pleasant consequences for Wells. After the song was released, she was paired with Marvin Gaye, becoming the first of several female Motown vocalists to serve as his duet partner. Pause, y'all. I want to know from y'all, from yous, who is Marvin Gaye's best duet partner? I say Tammy Terrell, hands down. Now, y'all can call me a ninja. Okay, if y'all want to. But I didn't even know that him and Mary Wells even made an attempt to duet together. Now, one thing that I also find strange about Mary Wells, it's not a lot of information on the internet about her. It's really not. Like, they have an unsung about her, which she deserves because she was like Motown's, Motown's first superstar. But I don't know. People aren't that interested in Mary Wells. I don't know why. It's like they focus on Marvin Gaye, Smokey Robinson, Diana Ross, the Supremes, the Temptations. But Mary Wells falls through the cracks, and I believe that's kind of sad. Motown execs paired the two, not only because her voice blended well with his, But because of her sexy persona, which they hoped would increase Marvin's personal appeal, they also thought that linking the struggling gay to a star like Wells would boost his career. They were right on both counts. The first Wells gay duet was Once Upon a Time, in which two lovers tell each other how happy they are to have found each other. The second, What's the Matter with You Baby, also is somewhat wistful, being simultaneously playful and accusatory. Although Gaye recorded subsequent duets with Kim Weston, Diana Ross, and Tammy Terrell, Wells' soothing tones were a perfect match for Gaye. Peter Benjaminson, I know you trying to, give Mary all due her respect, but stop it. You know goddamn well that Tammy Terrell was the best duet partner for Marvin. You can hang that up. Marvin Gaye, who we lovingly call Taco Meat Marvin. Or Marvy Poo. Even after Murray had left Motown and Gaye had reached his sex symbol status that culminated in the 1980s with his Sexual Healing Tour, he often sang Mary's Two Lovers as part of his performance. Wells and Gaye also recorded 4 additional duets at Motown: Back in My Arms, In Case You Need Love, Let's Talk It Over, and Oh Lover. That's also music that at the time Universal Records is considering releasing, along with that unreleased music that she did with the Four Tops. Gaye and Wells seemed made for each other. Marvin really was a gentleman, Murray said. A shy, soft-spoken person. He was insecure, but his voice was like heaven. He was kind and gentle, and a man you could trust. Bullshit the baker. Hold it, pause. Okay, you could trust him in the studio. You can't trust them quiet, insecure, genteel ones. Them be the ones that be having you riding around in a conversion van in the red light district, picking up prostitutes, making you watch them fuck the prostitute. Wells' opinion of Gaye was the universal female view at Motown. All the girls at Motown were in love with Marvin Gaye, Mary Wilson said. I mean, if we were on tour, everyone would want to sit right next to Marvin Gaye. Although Wells and Gaye became great partners musically and great friends personally, their relationship remained platonic. Yes, because if Marvy Poo could not see pureness in you, Murray Wells was not pure when he met her. Marvin Gaye likes to reach up into the heavens, find the purest virginic angel, and then drag her down to the depths of hell with him. Murray Wells was not pure enough for him. Okay, that's it. He didn't like you, girl. If he knew that you was an old virgin that only go home and read the Bible and then feed the children, save the wells, build brick houses in your pastime, then he would have loved you. But you done had too many dicks by now. Murray had helped Gaye, but she competed with the Beatles. In doing so, she became the first American female vocalist ever to beat the Beatles, even briefly when a wave of what came to be called Beatlemania was sweeping the country. In early 1964, the Beatles monopolized the #1 Billboard pop chart position for an astounding 14 consecutive weeks. Then in May, Louis Armstrong took the top position away from them for 1 week with Hello, Dolly. Well, hello, Dolly. Hello, Dolly, guys. If you guys are a Barbra Streisand fan, that musical is just so whimsical to me, y'all. Oh my gosh. That's one of the reasons how and why I fell in love with Barbra Streisand, guys. Y'all have to see it. It's beautiful. And then her character is like so Jewish, Now, Funny Girl is another reason why I just fell madly in love with her. I mean, and I get it. It's about a girl who falls in love with the unattainable gambler. I love it. But anyway, let's get back on track. Then in May, Louis Armstrong took the top position away from them for 1 week with Hello, Dolly. Mary's My Guy knocked Hello, Dolly out of the #1 spot the next week and held it for 2 weeks before the Beatles retook #1 with Love, Love Me Do. Nay, why do you know these songs? I don't know. I do, but then the Beatles invited Wells to join them as one of their opening acts during their fall 1964 UK tour, making her the first Motown act ever to perform in the United Kingdom. This astounded her colleagues at Motown, some of whom still saw themselves as struggling artists working for a small Detroit record company. When Wells actually opened for the Beatles, Mary Wilson told Unsung, "We were all kinda like, whoa." Understandably, although she was only one of the opening acts rather than the featured performer, Mary felt like the star of the tour. The feeling stayed with her. She returned to England to tour several times over the next 24 years. Mary was now a stratospheric success. She was far and away Motown's biggest star. Various members of the Supremes who spent much of their time hanging around Motown's lobby waiting for unpaid or low-paid jobs as hand clappers or background singers remember seeing Wells and her entourage sweep majestically past them. Author Tony Turner, TT's back. He references TT a lot in his book. Author Tony Turner noted the loftiness of Mary's stature at the time. She was the top star in that period at Motown. She didn't compete with the other groups. She was removed from that. She had the hits. She was Mary Wells. In 1964, Mary's fame attracted the most flattering of attention's imitation, an undisguised answer song to My Guy. Your Guy was recorded that year by Bobby Wells, no relation. Another song also released in 1964 was My Girl. Let me continue reading before I give you commentary. Written by Smokey Robinson and sung by the Temptations, in 1965, My Girl became a #1 Billboard R&B and #1 Billboard Pop Chart hit. Also in 1965, the nation's top DJs, polled by Billboard, voted Wells the nation's top R&B songstress. Okay, now let me do my commentary. One of the most amazing songs ever. Okay, now I know you like, Nay, you always got an amazing song. Yeah, I do. But anything just from that Cooley High soundtrack just moves me. I'm telling you, that is an incredible song. And I never knew that My Girl was an answer to My Guy. I never put those two together. And I damn sure didn't think for 1 second that it was based off of Mary Wells' My Guy. Damn. Now, let me say this about you, Mr. Peter Benjamin's son. You being very disrespectful. Okay? Because you know that lady name is Raynoma Gordy Singleton. Yes, her original name was Lyles. Her first husband's last name, I think. Okay? But you being very disrespectful in this book. Sir, that lady sold pussy for Gordy. And she deserves to keep his last name. And you need to call her Raynoma Gordy Singleton. Ironically, Mary's success also received an indirect nod in the form of alleged bootlegging in 1964 by none other than Raynoma Lyles, also known as Mrs. Berry Gordy. Call her Raynoma Gordy Singleton. Although by 1962 the Gordys were estranged, Berry had sent Raynoma to New York City to run a Motown creative outpost there. Due either to romantic or business-related tensions between Berry and Raynoma, or more likely a mixture of both, Berry refused to budget the additional money Raynoma believed she needed to make the New York outpost thrive. Enraged by the decision, Raynoma hit upon another way to obtain the funds she needed. She decided to use Motown's pressing plant to print an extra 5,000 copies of My Guy and sell them directly to New York City record stores and distributors, bypassing the required royalties and other payments and keeping the money for her own office budget. According to Raynoma's account of this incident in her book, Bury Me in Motown, she told herself over and over that as executive vice president and co-owner of Motown, she had a perfect right to take such action for the good of the company. Now, we know that Sugar Ray, yes, we call her Sugar Ray because she is sweet as sugar on the Berry Gordy. Berry Gordy shitted on her. And let me say this about them Sagittarius. You need to watch them niggas. If you're married to one, be careful. Because to them, you are a supreme asset to them. If you're not an asset to them, or if they can't earn, learn, or grow from you, they not choosing you, baby. You just something to do for the time being. She remained a Motown flunky forever. You hear me? Forever. She was even there at the Motown 25 helping to put things together. She was so much of a flunky. I know I'm talking too much about Sugar Ray, but she was so much of a flunky that she became his new boo's assistant. Meaning Diana Ross. She was now assisting Diana Ross to stay amongst the Motown workings. She had the Motown 25 assisting Diana Ross. After she had spent a night in jail, Motown offered to drop the charges against her if she accepted a divorce agreement and monetary settlement dictated by Barry and gave up all interest in and control over the Motown company. Raynoma agreed. All this was just a sideshow, however, compared to the much bigger problem Mary's superstardom began to cause for Motown and ultimately, and most tragically, for Mary herself. At age 21, a mere 5 years after Motown had plucked her from obscurity, Wells had come to consider herself hard done by the company that had lifted her from poverty to the top of the music world. Baby, I'm